Okay, man, this is early morning. So, what's my dream tonight? I can remember that I'm taking action, but the action that I took is a result of a prompting from the lines which are written on the floor. And when I take the action based on the floor's prompting, the lines are rewritten back to the floor, but at a different location. The instructions which I received, which I acted upon, is further away. But when I act on it, it seems like it is printed back to the floor. And that's how the dream is. I woke up from the dream with a thought in my mind. Isn't it exactly like my dreams? I was asking the question. Or the things which are done in the awake state, they are printed down into my dream. My dreams are what we call the subconscious, right? So it gets printed from the awake state and they are placed on the floor. But all the actions that I have in my awake state, they were prompted from the subconscious as well. Am I not right? I receive instructions from the inner self-consciousness, from the floor. And then when I print them, I'm printing them down back to the floor. And that's how I see the dream for now. Wow, look at the sun. The sun has risen. But I'm still thinking how to interpret the dream. And so I have to leave it off for a while and then come back to the dream. See, let me not forget this. You see, while I was dreaming, when I acted on that action, it gets reprinted on the floor, right? But the time, the gap between the printing on the floor and the action is instantaneous. And my knowing of the fact that there was an action taken was basically based on the flooring. I saw the printing on the floor, and that's why I knew that I had taken action. If I haven't seen the lines on the floor, would I know that I've taken an action? Not exactly. It was the printing on the floor that allowed me to see my action. And when I perform an action, the promptings that came from the lines further up were almost instantaneous. You don't realize that actually it was the promptings of the floor that made me act on it. It was instantaneous. Now, this dream has a very important message for me. Firstly, it is telling me that the actions that we make are induced from our deep memory. It is not exactly our own will. It is the memory which comes upon us, and then we are taking action based on that memory. It's a kind of reflex. We are not really willful in the actions that we take. And because of that, we bypass our own action. We don't really know that we make those actions because of the fact that it has been a reflex action from the memory before. If you don't make a willful action, but you make an action merely out of memory, you cannot exactly say that you're making an action. You're more like a slave. This dream is telling me that our actions, most of them, unless we are fully aware, are actually based on reflex of previous memories. Number two,
This dream is also telling me that when the action is being taken, when we make those actions, we don't really know and remember the actions. The reason why we think that we have made the action is because we see the movement. We just merely see the movement. We see it imprinted on the floor. That's how we actually know that we have taken an action. At the point of action, we don't actually feel it at all. You see, what this dream is trying to tell me is that the actions that you think you know are just past actions, actions which have already taken place, but you saw them because they were printed on the floor. If we are not aware of the actions that we are taking, and neither are we aware, and even when the actions are taken, we are only seeing them on the floor when they are printed. We are not being the movement itself, and we are not willful in our movement. They were all induced from memory. In that situation, we are not actually alive. We are slaves. Just like what it was described in the Bible, like the slavery of the children of Israel in the hands of Pharaoh. Now, the question I'm asking, therefore, is who is the person who actually make the movement? I mean, I'm not aware of the movement, right? And I don't even know that a movement has taken place. So who has actually moved it? Who is the igniter, the fire that moves me? The answer is the one presence. The one presence within each of us, we are not aware. And this one presence is undefinable, unlocatable. And unless we are fully aware of our own one presence, it's as though everything that is being done has been done, but we have not really done it. It is the one presence that is doing it for us, but we are not fully aware of it. That is the reason why all my life I seek to enter the one presence. I use the word enter. I seek to become fully aware of my movement and my being. It's unfortunate that most of us are not aware of that. We are living like in a dream. Our movements are made from memory, and when we move, we don't really know it. We only see it as a print in our mind. There's a third point to this, and the third point is very important. How did it happen that we are working our life from a memory? The answer is because we are continually imprinting our actions into memory. So we imprint our actions into memory. The memory goes into a lifetime and then comes back to us to induce us to action. And this is what Buddhism explains as birth and rebirth. It's a continuous birth and rebirth, the result of a mind, of a memory that never ends. It's a state of samsara. It's like a fire that is burning the bush, but the bush is never burnt. The bush is the samsara. The fire is the one presence. And most people live in the state of samsara. And they are not aware of the fire that actually is moving them. The fire which moves them is the one presence, but we are not aware of that. We are living in the samsara in a continuous state of birth and rebirth. And based on the Bible, in my opinion, it is the enslavement of people in Egypt. Well, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, but if you don't, it's okay. I'm just only reviewing my dream and recording my dream, and so that I can recall it in a future time. But if you follow my dreams, if you follow my experiences, I hope you will discover your presence.